welcome everyone. We are doing the Hobbies podcast, episode 1, and today we're going to discuss video editing with my co host Christian.
Yes, hello. My name is Christian Lillerud. I'm a video editor in Stockholm. I do edits for clients on a day-to-day basis. So let's just jump right into it. So, a frequent question that I normally face upon, that I get asked, is probably the right way to say it. Is what is video editing? Because it's actually more in depth than most people think. Video editing can switch from depending on what you work for or etc etc. So there's like two main types of video editing. Is video editing for entertainment, such as YouTube and etc. And there's more entertainment. There's two different. One for more like comedy, YouTube kind of stuff, and then we have the video editing for films and etc. So the difference is normally like how you edit, how you place the clips. For example, you want a more cinematic look, or do you want a more comedy kind of style of video editing? So yeah, that's actually quite what I have in store for what's the difference between like different video edits and etc.
Mm.
But
And
yeah,
which one is it that you do mostly?
uh, I have recently dived more into the YouTube kind of video editing because I'm working with some guys that wanted YouTube content, so they hit me up and asked if I could do like a few YouTube videos for them. So, but mostly my main focus is to do more cinematic kind of look, because in the video editing department I work with visual effects too. So, yeah.
Alright, that's interesting. You and me, we actually did a video a while ago uh,
Yes.
about a club that I was potentially doing. Uh, and that was quite fun. It wasn't very complicated editing, but it still had a very good comedic effect, I believe.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. We sat down, you, me, doing the history club, was it right?
Yeah, Internet History Club.
Internet history club. Yeah, about the history of memes and just overall what
Exactly.
happened on the internet, like Black Lives Matter and etc. Yeah, I remember that was.
Yeah, because with the power of editing, we were able to just create a very strong video that could really get people into the
Yeah.
club, perhaps. So
Mo-
I think that video editing is a strong tool to be able to wield,
yeah, most people don't really give enough credit to video editors, not being biased there. But a lot of people don't seem to understand that video editing has a powerful thing when it comes to movies and etc. Most people watch a movie and then they probably cry a little bit, or they get hyped because there's a hype scene. But people don't know that, like, oh shit, this like guy who did this edit, he really did go all out on it. Like, video editing in general is mostly to get out the emotions from the people who are watching, and I think that's mostly why I love video editing so
know?
much, because you can really tell a great story and make people really feel for the characters in the story with just how you place your clips and how you put in the audio in the right way.
Mm. So you said that people usually don't notice video editing in movies. Do you think that perhaps good video editing should not be something that you notice, or should it be noticed?
I think if the video is like really good and people don't notice, like, oh, this seems so flawlessly done, I don't notice that someone has actually sat down and done this, I think it's a good point. Yeah, I think. But
Mm.
there's difference in that, because there's some people who go overboard with it and people just like, oh, this was nice, but I don't really care about the person who did it. But there's like people, for an example, there's a really one of my idols, David Fincher. He's really known for his work ethic, like how he plays the camera, to how he does some certain effects for certain camera movements. Like people like him who get recognized for his video editing style, not just by video editors in general. He get recognized by people who doesn't even edit themselves. So I think he's a good like example of what an editor should be like. Is like, yes, you the editor doesn't really get that much recognition from what he does, but I think it's like a good point to look at. Like, he does good stuff, people reckon him for it, but people don't get too caught up on who did this scene. Do you get what I'm saying, or am I kind of
Yeah.
losing you? Yeah, okay, good. So I think it should be a balance. I don't think you should be like, oh, this is me, or stuff like that. So people just think about, oh, Chris did this. Now I know that, because that doesn't really sell the effect of emotions in the certain scene or the certain like clip. So I think it's like a balance between both. Like you should be recognized for what you're doing, and you should also kind of have like, yeah, people fall in love with that scene, kind of.
All right.
That's why, yeah.
Very, very nicely put. So how long have you been interested in video editing?
Since I was a little kid, I think 7 years old when I opened up iMovie for the first time. Actually, my grandfather was kind of the one who got me into it. He was working in the film industry with some well-known, what's it called? I only know it on Swedish. Detektivfilmer. What's that? Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's like mystery.
yeah, mystery kind of stuff, thriller like ish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's say that.
yeah. So he worked on some movies, and I got to actually be with him in one set once, and I just fell in love with the whole process, using your creativity to create certain emotions and create like so you get the feelings for the person in the film. Like, oh, you can sympathize, use the psychological kind of aspect of video editing in general. I just fell in love with it. And yeah, so I opened up iMovie when I was 6. Really got into video editing in the start of 6th grade. Then I started working for people in 8th grade, and now I'm 18 years old, and I'm gonna start my film career with Crispy Films. So yeah, that's really how I started with it. Got inspired by my grandfather, and now I am kind of doing what I hoped I would do when I was like a little kid, probably 12 years old, thinking to myself, one day, I will work on a big film, and everybody will see it in the cinema. So yeah.
Ah, that's a wonderful story. So you decided to make a living out of video editing then. So what are your prospects kind of then? What industry is it really that you're getting into, I suppose? Like movies, sure, but what
Yeah,
would be your job?
my job in general would be, I'm not really good at sound effects, and it's a really important thing when it comes to visual effects and just overall editing, but mostly visual effects, because I like the effects. I remember watching Transformers, and I was so blown away. Like, how do they get these like big robots that can transform into different like vehicles or species, for an example? I really got like, oh shit, this is really cool. And then I watched like Superman I was like, how do they make him fly? Like, I got interested probably because I thought it was a cool like thing that computers could do. So I got really interested in just overall like how they do it, and then I like looked at some tutorials on After Effects, like trying to do my own stuff. I remember I did like a copy of myself in After Effects when I was like 12. I filmed myself and then I took 2 clips and put them together, and I was like, dude, I'm a fucking pro at this. I could make a living easy. So I would say in the industry, like what I would work or what I'm working on right now is actually visual effects, just overall 3D stuff to make them to implant them into the actual living world, kinda, to put it in a basic perspective. So that's generally what I'm working on right now.
Mm.
Because yeah, I got some recognition from my teacher who works in the film industry, and he set me up with some people that could teach me a little bit more in depth on how their workflow is, and what they need from me to be able to be in the industry.
All right, that's good. Uh, I guess we might want to backtrack a bit. So, like, for people who might just be considering video editing, what is something that you enjoy about video editing as a hobby?
It's the possibilities. I've always dreamed of. I was a kid with a lot of fantasy, for an example. So video editing was kind of the thing that got my fantasy into the real life, but from a video format. So I enjoy making stuff that wouldn't be possible just by filming. So, for an example, if I, for example, want myself to have fire powers, I can do that. And that's probably the biggest reason why film in general is a really great hobby to have, because you can fulfill your wildest dreams, as I would say. Like, and also just overall the emotions you put in. Like, if you have a bad day, you can make a edit that can explain your emotions in a different way, like in a film format. And I think that goes to the thing with artists who draw, for an example. They can draw like a sad character on a sad day, a happy character on a happy day. Like, you can express so much of your emotions into your art, and just that in general makes it more likable and more why I do it, kinda.
Mm.
So,
So it's kind of about exploring your own creativity with it, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah, creativity. Woo, nah, nah, but yeah, most people don't really think about it, but it's a lot about creativity and what you can do with it. Like, as long as you have a lot of creativity, there's no like, oh, I reached the top max, like I'm the best. Like, there's nothing like that. You can always improve, you can always get better. There's always something to work. I always say, like, for an example, when I work on a project, I have to put a deadline on myself, otherwise I would be working on that project for like 2 months, because there's no end to, like, for an example, a perfect edit. There's no such things as that.
Mm, that's interesting.
Hmm?
I suppose that might be translated into other art forms as well, like someone
Yeah.
drawing a painting for years and years and it's never quite being finished.
Yeah, as I gave the example before about emotion and etc. Most like creativity work really they have a lot of similarity to them.
Mm,
Like, it's mind blowing, because I always thought like, oh yeah, it's a big difference between them all, because one is audio, one is like one picture, one is like a whole film, some is in 3D, some are done for architecture, architect, yeah, basically fucking buildings and etc.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you can. They all somehow gets really similar when you get in depth with them. Like for example, most of the stuff that I do relates to pictures and etc. Since the work area that I work on, it's just like a bunch of pictures mixed in to make one shot, for example.
Mm.
So yeah, it's kind of the same process between them all.
Mhm. Do you think that you're able to enjoy movies more because you're good at video editing and you understand it?
Yeah, actually, it's like a yes and a no like answer to that question is like
Mm.
my girlfriend, for example, hates watching movies with me because I never shut up. Oh, they used that effect. Oh, they did this. Oh, I know exactly how they made this shot. So she can get really annoyed, but I feel like I'm more focused on the movie because before, like when I was a kid, I hated to watch movies. I don't know, I couldn't get myself to watch like the famous movies that were on cinema back then. But now when I'm older, have more knowledge in the video editing and just overall visual effects, I can kind of sympathize and relate more because I know exactly what that person who made this movie or the people who made this movie, what they are going through, like the workflow, the deadlines, the stress, the enjoy of making it, the satisfaction of being done with it, watching what you have done. Also, what effects, what thought process was behind everything. So I think I I can I enjoy movies more now than I did before. People don't enjoy watching movies with me because I never shut the fuck up, but that's another story.
All right. So I guess that like any hobby, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Is there anything that annoys you when you are doing video editing or?
Yeah, since it's all in the technical like play it's all technical. Uh it can be like some small technical errors that occurs, like for example hard drive gets full, you don't have any like space for videos that you need to import, your computer crash, your software crash, like those kind of stuff is probably the reason why video editing takes so long, and overall visual effects too. It's
Mhm.
like you need a lot of money to be able to be in this industry because most projects, computers, also like assets and etc., they cost a lot. I
Mm.
think right now I have spent a couple of like thousand
Oh,
on just like equipments for cameras, audio, software, and like plugins, presets, assets.
mm. We're speaking Swedish crowns or dollars here.
If we speak Swedish crowns, is like up to 60,000 Swedish crowns, and if
Oh,
it's
that's like $7,000 almost.
yeah, so you can kind of see where I'm getting at. Like
Yeah,
it's not cheap. You can get most stuff for free, but it comes with a lot of problems. Like for
yeah,
example,
to
the crash.
produce quality, you need
Yeah,
to spend a lot of money on it. All right, so
but
there's kind of a
there's a
gate to
yeah,
trying to get in, I suppose.
there's like a catch to it. But the thing is, what I will earn all this money back if I really put my mind into it. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
really work hard for it. I That's the reason why I spent so much on just the equipments overall.
Mm-hmm.
Just like yeah, I spend money now on this, but I know that in the future I will get this back.
All right. Do you think that there's a lot of money to get in the video editing industry?
There actually is. Because it was funny because when I was younger, I didn't really think about money. But now when I'm older, I need to start working. So my first client actually asked me, how much do I need to pay you? And I was like really confused. So I searched it up and I gave him a low like cost on and like my budget and etc. So I remember my first real payment was like around 2,000 Swedish crowns just for like a 10-minute video. And he was all right with it. He was like, damn, you're cheap. I was like, what? So I kind of scammed myself. So now I can earn like an 8,000 in Swedish crowns by just some like
Wow,
simple works.
that's about
Uh,
$9.
Yeah, and the highest amount I've earned is probably around 14, 15 thousand Swedish crowns.
Ooh, that's incredible.
Yeah, so, but it's nowhere near where I want to be. I don't really, that's the thing with me. I don't really care about the money in this, like, job. But because I really like overall just editing in general, because it's like, it's my zone. It's like I feel safe in it. It's kind of like I feel comfortable doing what I'm doing. So the money is just a catch because I know like some few people that are working in the industry, and there was this guy that worked on Interstellar and Shazam and Lights Out. He earned, what was it, like 1.5 like million in just like a 3-4 months span. It was really insane to me, like listening to it, because
Wow.
people pay him a lot. He's actually quite well known in the industry, so people know like, yeah, this guy is the real deal. We want him on this film. So yeah, he have built up his reputation a lot, and he's also the guy that I will be like a trainee for.
Mm,
So yeah, uh, he's really insane. Actually, like I have to say that the things that he has done in like a short month is it's mind blowing. So yeah,
do
it's
you hope to work in the United States in the future then? Because a lot
mm,
of the bigger movies take
yeah.
place in Hollywood.
The funny part is that yes, I will be working in the United States for Crispy Films.
All right.
If I would say like a time, it would be like 4 to 5 years from now. I will be actually a main editor in visual effects and in overall scene, like scene build-ups in Crispy
Mhm.
Films.
Jag åker till stan, vi ska åka till grannen sen. Bredvid en dag.
Since we have a bit of a disturbance.
Yeah. But yeah, so around to 4 to 5 years, I have to take some degrees first, and then I have to be a trainee for 1.5 year, and then I will be able to actually move and work as scene build up artist, kinda, in the video editing and in visual effects. So yeah, I'm really hyped for it actually, because I've been working on some movies and etc. And that's been like my life goals when I was a kid.
Mm. Do you think that it's possible to still make a good living out of video editing, not living in the United States?
There, yeah. Actually, most countries you can. It depends on like where you live, but most countries, at least here in Europe, you make a really good living just from video editing in general. And I hate to be that person, but actually it depends on gender. Still,
Oh,
yes, I know it's shocking. Because apparently, if you're a man, you can earn more than if you're a woman. And I don't really like to see that because I have some female coworkers that are really amazing and have taught me a lot. And just seeing the numbers that they earn in perspective from like a man, it kind of I don't like it actually. It's
mm,
so, but yeah, you can make a really good like you can do it. You can deal with like it's all about like who you work for kinda.
all right.
So there's like some famous Swedish movies like you could work for and earn like probably a decent amount of money. Like it's video editing earns like here at least here in Sweden is kind of the same as being a teacher, for an example. You earn the same amount, and you can make a living from being a teacher. So hope that puts a good perspective into it.
All right. Interesting. What kind of people do you think might be interested in getting into video editing?
I
Or do
I think mostly the people that are like this job. It can be really stressful sometimes. It's fun most of the times, but some few times I've been caught with like a deadline and oh shit, I have to put 3 all-nighters for this certain work. But it's more for people who's ambitious in just overall the visual effects. I think visual effects, video editing. I think video editing is for everyone. There's like, oh, you have to be this certain type to be able to do an edit. Because I have met with so many people from different backgrounds, different like lifestyles and etc. And video editing comes more to style. I would say, like for an example, if you more of like you don't have that big of an income, you're a more free-minded person, you could fit into most styles. Like you have your own style that shows from your own personality, kinda. So I met with a couple of thousand, not thousand, but a couple of hundred people that have different stories to tell. They have different creativity, and I think video editing is for everyone actually. And to get into video editing in general, it's just do and be creative and have fun. And most of the times, if you are ambitious enough, you will kind of succeed. But video editing doesn't normally it doesn't like people don't see it as a like a real hobby most of the times. When I tell like people, oh yeah, I do video editing, they're like, oh, you do stuff like for YouTube or something. I've tried it once or twice before. It seems fun. So people like seem like video editing is something easy, kinda.
mm,
Do you get what I'm saying? So people don't
yeah,
see it as like, oh, it's a hobby that you can get really good at and earn good money from.
mm,
It's like not well known to be a video editor.
yeah, yeah. People don't usually like group video editors together with like music producers or architects or those kind of other
Yeah.
creative
The only
jobs.
people that kind of knows about video editors is the people that are well, like they are really into the industry of like production.
Yeah.
And I, for example, know some music producers that asked me recently to make like visuals for his like show and etc. I know you're thinking about Theodore. It was not Theodore. It was another. It was another guy who needed like a visual effects for his like show. So he asked me, and he knew that I was good at visual effects. Like, so I think it's more recognized in the actual industry of production. People get to know, like, oh, this guy, I knew he is really good because I had a friend who said he was good, and I saw what he could do. So I know that he's different from other people. Like, I think it comes more to what you work with. Like, for an example, if a teacher would see a movie, he wouldn't be like, oh, this guy, I've heard about him. They mostly know about the director, for an example, because director normally gets the most fame from like a production of like a movie and etc. Like, for an example, there's a bunch of famous directors based in USA that my father could, like, oh, this guy, yeah, I know him. He doesn't know him, but I know of his work, I should put it. Yeah, he did this movie. I remember that. So it's not really that, oh, I know this video editor, because it's more that the director gets the more fame, if I would say. But yeah, the question was who could get into video editing, right?
Yeah.
I thought about a thing, and it's, I think if you are a creative person, you could really love this like kind of work. And you don't even have to like video editing in general. You could anything that's, if you're a creative person, anything that's creative, like that's a creative motive behind the production, something like that. You could really like this kind of form of industry, like with art and etc. Because it all comes down to, yeah, it's art. I think the better way to put video editing in a category is like, yeah, this is art. This is about feelings. This is about the emotion you get from watching or seeing this.
All right.
So yeah.
That sounds quite wonderful. I think that maybe we should wrap it up there then. It's like a good note to wrap it up about video editing. I hope that those who have listened to this are now considering doing video editing and might even have learned some advice from our co-host.
Yes.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, have a great day.
Alright, you can stop recording.